Duran Premium Cigars, one of the fastest-growing boutique cigar companies, provides smokers a portal into the old Cuban tradition of the perfect balance and the lost art of progressive flavor construction. Roberto Pelayo Duran began his career in tobacco over 2 decades ago in Havana, where his reputation grew within Cuban circles. The creation of Duran Premium Cigars has given Roberto the platform to introduce a series of cigars that offer the quality and construction that he perfected while in Cuba. Brands include the ultra-premium Roberto P. Duran signature line, Azan, Nea, and Baracoa. Duran uses a seed-to-humidor approach, as all of their tobacco is grown in their farms and rolled in their factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. Rollers have been carefully chosen to carry out Roberto's precise method to ensure progressive flavor in each cigar. Duran Premium Cigars invites you to make their premium your standard.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Stogie Geek Show. We're here talking about Lanceros. I don't know that we've done a Lancero segment on the show before. I was actually looking. I don't think we've talked about Lanceros a lot on the show. We've never done a dedicated segment. So this is exciting. This is one of my favorite Lanceros that I lit up. This is the Laura Preferidos Cameroon Lancero.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome. It's hard to find now, actually. I think they stopped making them.
Did they really?
I think they did.
That's a shame.
That's what I'm told. I stocked up.
I think I got that from Willie Morante last week. He said, if you see him, grab him.
Oh, actually, we should probably say congratulations to Willie and Maciel. They got married yesterday.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
A little cigar marriage right there.
That's it.
Miami and my father.
No kidding. Yeah. I like locally the J. Grotto Silk.
That's such a good
Lancero
smoke.
is. I think
it's such a good smoke.
It's really where it's at. I usually use that for a go-to in some of the smaller shops that I go to.
Yeah.
That don't have quite a bigger selection of Lanceros, and they always have the Grotto series sitting there. It's a really, really tasty smoke.
That's what I love about that cigar is it's mild, but it's not going to bore you to death.
Right.
Because I hate that when you pick up a mild cigar because you're like, I just want something easy, quick, and it just winds up being tasteless and monotone. That's got a lot of complexity to it.
Mm-hmm. On the opposite side of the spectrum, the Tuaje Black is a really good go-to. Those are my two.
Actually, that whole line they came out with last year, the black line in all those different sizes, I struggle to find one that I don't like.
So it wasn't a bad size in that bunch.
Yeah.
What do you find retail-wise? Do they go a little bit or not so much?
Retail-wise, I can't give them away to save my life. And it kills me.
What a shame.
Because if I'm going into a place like Ale House, my purpose is to sit down and relax and enjoy a cigar. A Lancero is not a cigar you can smoke while you're mowing the lawn or you're on the golf course.
I don't light it in my car. I don't light up a Lancero.
Yeah, it's something you really have to sit down and take the time with. And that's the kind of place where you do it. But everybody's so hung up on the bigger ring gauges.
Tony Soprano style. Yeah.
Well, people look at it and go, yeah, so the Lancero is $11, the Toro's $12. You get so much more tobacco with the Toro than you do with the Lancero. Yeah. But with the Lancero, you're getting the better tobacco.
Right, and you're getting a better flavor.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
The flavor comes from the wrapper, and it's amazing how the consumer behavior. Because a bunch of shops don't. I always see if there's a line, the box of Lanceros is usually the most full.
Actually, I'm pretty sure all the Lanceros I have right now are in the clearance bin.
Really?
Yeah, it breaks my heart to do it, but
time to go shopping.
There it is. Just educating the consumer, I think, one day at a time, unfortunately.
It's interesting. In 2008, Cigar Aficionado ran an article called The Love of Lanceros and talked about how they were kind of coming back on the scene. I think they've, amongst cigar aficionados, if you will, they've been really popular probably since then. I think their article was, timing-wise, very good. They say the Cuban traditional size is 7.5 by 38. I think most of the ones that we have seen on the market since 2008 have been more of the 6 by 38. We've also seen a trend upping the ring gauge to 40 or 39. Right? Yeah, 40 being popular, like 7 by 40.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of 7-inch
It's kind of like the new standard, like 7 by 40. I feel like is more where people are going with Lanceros. I have to say that changing the size is up to the blender, really. And I don't, I can't say like, I like 38 ring gauge Lancero is better than 40. to me, it's whatever they've constructed in the size, like, really stands out. In other words, I'll have a 38 ring gauge and it'll be okay, and I'll have a 38 ring gauge of another brand, and I'm like, well, that's really good. So I haven't noticed any consistency.
You're hoping they put their best foot forward, on that particular size.
Yeah. So my point is, it's all about the blender. It really, in the minute differences in size, isn't a determining factor for me when I rate a Lancero. Like, I can't say the 38 ring gauge ones, those are all no good. You got to go to the 40. It's definitely not the case.
Yeah.
I think it runs the gamut, and it's hard to choose the right leaves to put inside of a Lancero because you have so little to work with. And I like your comment, Jake, when you said you're getting the best of the tobacco, because they kind of, if you're going to choose like what to put in a skinnier ring gauge, you're going to choose the higher primings and the better tobacco.
Yeah.
I think you're spot on with that.
That's one of those things that a lot of people don't realize is when a lot of companies change the size of a cigar, they tweak the blend just a little bit every time, to the point where if you're smoking a 6x60 and a Lancero, they're almost two totally different blends. It's still along the same idea. It's still got the same wrapper, same binder, same filler, but it's different percentages, different sort of makeup. I had one guy, this is probably 3 years ago now, came in and all he wanted was the Asylum 7x70.
Yeah,
that's all I smoke.
Every shop has a couple of those guys.
I know, it's right on. I said,
they don't deviate.
Why are you doing that to yourself? He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I get it. You think you're getting more for your money.
I want the telephone pole.
He goes, I am getting more for my money. I said, no, you're not. You're getting more filler for your money. You're getting more. It's not the premium tobacco. Right. So when you're done with that 7x70, come back to me. I'm going to give you 99 problems. And he goes, you know what? You were right. He goes, it was only $3 cheaper for a lot less tobacco, which was, again, his main issue. But he goes, the flavor on that 99 Problems Lancero is so much better than the flavor on that 7x70.
Getting back to the education of it right there.
Yeah. So you're saying that, like, from a humidor perspective, the consumer drive is the bigger size, the bigger value?
I wouldn't even say the bigger size anymore at this point. It was probably, when did I start working there? 4 years ago? So yeah, 3-4 years ago, it was more, they wanted the 60s, they wanted the 70s for a value perspective, but now it's kind of gone back to more just straight Toro. Mm-hmm. Or straight Robusto. A lot of people don't get into the Lanceros, the Lonsdales, the Petite Coronas, the Figurados, that type of thing. And I don't know if it's because they're scared of it or they just don't know that it's going to change the flavor of the cigar a little bit.
Yeah, they probably haven't ventured in that realm before and staying within that comfort zone. You know?
So your traditional Toros and Lanceros are kind of where I'm seeing it go now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's quite a history of Lanceros in the Stogie Geek, Stogie's feed. It seems like every manufacturer has a Lancero.
Oh, is that the L'Atelier?
Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah, L'Atelier does make I like their style, their stuff in the Lancero size. Oh, yeah. Of course, one of the most epic Lanceros in existence is the Don Carlos Lancero.
That is by far my favorite Fuente of all time.
I tend to agree. That very well be like the best cigar that Fuente has ever made.
I haven't had it.
Don Carlos Lancero.
Do you want the Presidente size? Because I brought one.
What is in that magic bag, man?
Well, that's what you talked to me earlier today. You said you want to bring some stuff from
Good man.
the humidor.
Thanks, brother.
We were just saying before we came on the air. For some reason, that cigar, because it's been out for so long, is a cigar that a lot of people forget about, and I forgot about it too. And the last couple of months, I've been smoking those like one after the other. They're just perfect.
And they still don't come close to the Lancero.
No.
Oh, my God.
That Lancero is amazing. You know what was actually a great Lancero that I think was limited edition and it's gone now, which is a shame, is LFD made a Cameroon Lancero.
I've smoked a ton of those.
I've had that at your place.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you've actually turned me on to that.
Those are really good.
Such a good smoke.
Yeah.
Well, and I'd put it right up there with the Cien Años Lancero is really good from La Aurora as well. That one has an Oasis rating, as does the Don Carlos. So it's interesting how some of our Oasis ratings are, in fact, Lanceros. The J. Grotto Reserva, of course, came in a Lancero.
Mm-hmm. That was a great smoke.
There's a couple boxes of those, and I do smoke that in the car. I know.
The Lancero?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he's like,
that's my bouncing from cigar event to cigar event. That's the first one I light up. After an event, going to another shop to finish out the rest of the night. I dig it. I don't know. It's become the norm for me.
Which one was the Southern Draw you gave me in the Lancero? Was that the Firethorn?
The Firethorn is...
That was a great smoke.
That, aside from the La Aurora Cameroon, that Firethorn in particular is a win. Not just because associated with, but I truly love it. It's delicious.
Yeah, it's a really good cigar.
Fuente did make a few years ago a run of Opus X Lanceros and had them available for box purchase at a lot of retailers. I actually have, I think, a full box at home. It's probably time because it's been about 3 or 4 years since they released.
We're in the wheelhouse.
Probably time to break those out.
It's funny though. I still, even the Sharks, the Opus, I still like the Don Carlos better.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that cigar that's just so good.
I haven't had a Don Carlos in some time. We've been talking about
Steal the one I just gave Joe.
I've been on them at least 2 a week.
Yeah.
At least 2 a week. They're so tasty.
I'm right there with you.
And
they burn perfect.
Burn
every
amazing
time.
on the golf
they
course
hold
too.
an ash like nothing.
Yep, they're just an amazing stick. It's just it's definitely a good stick for sure.
Now my question to you guys, you guys are way more seasoned smokers than I am. There's probably a ton of listeners out there. Same point I am. Drawbacks to Lanceros.
Don't smoke them too fast. Smoke them too fast, they'll get hot.
Could affect the burn rate. Yep.
Absolutely. Construction can be tough with Lanceros. I think that's why sometimes people won't gravitate towards them because they get one and they're either smoking too fast or there's some kind of construction issue with it because they are very difficult to roll.
Right.
And so they're like, they'll just dismiss like the entire size because of those two factors, which we tell our listeners and viewers like not to do that. And to go seek out Lanceros still. It's just like any other cigar, right? I mean, you don't judge a whole line based on one smoke. Don't judge an entire size across manufacturers just on one or two different experiences. Yeah.
Any preferred cut?
I always do a straight cut.
Yeah.
I'm a V cut guy.
Yeah, I'm a V.
I don't know what it is.
You could go V on a. It's hard to punch because there's not a lot of surface area to punch a Lancero. So I definitely wouldn't recommend punching it.
Oh,
you could probably go.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, the Nat Sherman Timeless Lancero shows up in our feed a couple times. That is a really good cigar. An old Coronado by La Flor.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we smoke some vintage stuff on the show.
Yeah, people get scared of it a lot because they don't know it, and it's one of those deals where if you get a knot in a Toro, you can roll it with your fingers a little bit and work it out. With a Lancero,
there's no room for
that's
error.
a lot harder to do. So it has to be a perfect roll. The other thing too is, like we were talking about earlier, if I'm at work and I'm talking to people running around doing this, doing that, it's wasted because you have to relight it so many times and it just keeps going out constantly because it's less surface area to stay lit.
Right. Well, and you bring up a great point too. I think that because of that less surface area, it's also a cigar you want to sit down and kind of enjoy. Like you said, if you're in between things, when that goes out and you're relighting it, that may be another reason why people are like, I don't like Lanceros, because they're probably smoking while they're doing something else and not focusing on the cigar. And
I'm more apt to go match for a Lancero. Just I don't want the possibility of scorching it, affecting the
blowing
taste.
out the whole thing.
No, and like I said, if you can take that time, sit down in a nice lounge and do it upright,
Yeah, it's not something you can smoke on the golf course. So the second you put it down, hit your shot, go back, it's going to be out.
No.
Oh, that's another one I like. The Opus X Lost City Lancero.
Oh, the Lost Cities are fantastic too.
Fantastic. Those are good.
You know what I was actually talking about the other day that I said I want a box of so badly because I haven't had one in so long is the Don Pepin Original, the blue label. They made that in a Lancero.
They did. That was in our Stogie's
tasty.
feed. Yeah, it was. I don't remember what the review was, but yeah, those are really good for sure.
Christophe Cameroon.
Does that come in a Lancero? I don't know if I've had that in a Lancero.
I thought it was a Lancero.
The Sumatra, the Maduro, and the Corojo Limitada come in a Lancero.
The Sumatra Lancero.
Actually, so does the Habano. The Habano comes in Lancero now.
I think the Sumatra's the best of the bunch of Lanceros that come out of Christoph.
Oh,
I
yeah,
have
by
had
a
that
lot.
before. Yeah, that is a really good smoke.
I do
guys
love
have
the
it over there?
Maduro, but no, we
because you don't do a lot of Lanceros.
We don't do a lot of Lanceros. It's just I wish people would come in and ask me for them so I could carry them, but it's not a size. I don't know if people are afraid of it. They just don't know it. They don't realize.
It's everywhere. Like when I frequent a shop and you get talking, and I remember when you recommended the LFD Cameroon Lancero, and I was like, yeah, I'm all about it. Let's do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of people
You're open to it.
who will be the target audience. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of guilty of that too, I guess. I don't go looking for a Lancero, but when I, from a consumer perspective, but when I spend time in a humidor and I'm making a selection, I always take a little longer than normal. I don't know why. I just like to kind of peruse the aisles, you know, and enjoy the experience. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do a Lancero. You know what I mean? And then, you know, you kind of check the time that you have because, you know, you really need to, you know, it's not something that you can be working on your computer, talking on the phone if you're like me, you're working.
Doing a podcast.
You know, doing a podcast. You know, because you're
breaking our own rules here.
Because you just have to stay on it and keep an even cadence of smoking it.
Yeah, you can't go too quick. You can't go too slow.
Right.
Would you venture into Lancero as an introduction to a new company that you're looking to try? Or would you stay with a traditional, like a Toro, Robusto?
I'd probably go Toro first.
I think that's actually a great question. Yeah, if it's a new company looking to try, I would go Toro. Then I would toggle back to the Robusto, and then I would toggle back to the Lancero at a time.
I usually go smoke 2 Toros in a row, just so that way I can make sure I didn't miss anything on the first one. It wasn't me that day because, like, you take a cigar like La Antigüedad. The first time I smoked La Antigüedad, I absolutely hated it. And I don't know why I did. I couldn't stand it. And a couple weeks later, I had another one in my humidor. I said, you know what? I got nothing else to do. I'm going to smoke this. And I loved it. And that's one of those deals where now that I know what I'm looking at and I know what flavors to look for and what's going on with this, now I can smoke a Lancero because now I know it a little bit better. I can see the change that the size brings to the flavor.
And especially with new smokers, too, I won't put them in a Lancero because the whole cut, light, and pacing, like you want to have some experience under your belt, I think, to enjoy the Lanceros. And one that you mentioned, I think, a couple weeks ago, Raymond, was the Cane F Lancero and the Cane Daytona Lancero.
Those are great.
I love that.
For the price especially. I haven't seen those in a while.
That Nicaraguan Cane Lancero is out of this world.
Yep, really good stuff.
That was box-worthy purchase for me right at the event.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you really dig
Santa
Lanceros, I do recommend the Tatuaje 10-count sampler Lancero.
That was fantastic.
I think all of them were just awesome in there. So if you do like that, the Lancero size, I would definitely pick up 1 or 2 of those.
What do they have? They had the brown, the red.
Oh, now you're going to
They had the Veracruz. They had the Fausto Esteli. No, I know because I bought like 3 of these things. The Cabaguan.
Yep.
Cabaguan Maduro.
Cabaguan, yep.
I'm missing something.
Black
La Casita Criollo.
Yeah. That was the all broadleaf one?
Was that the all broadleaf? No, that wasn't the all broadleaf. What was the all broadleaf one?
I think he discontinued that one.
I don't know. If I sat here long enough, I'd think of it, but they don't want to watch me just sit here staring at the ceiling.
Totally geeking out. Hell yeah.
That Tatuaje Lancero sampler was, I bought 1 and then I turned around and bought 2 more that were that good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that concludes this segment. I hope all of our listeners go out and try some Lanceros. Great recommendations in there from the cast and crew, as well as special guests. So we're going to take a short break, come back, do our Stogies of the Week. Stay tuned.